sure that these two vents right here are open. And the way you open them. Get a latch like this on the other side. It's already been released. Lift that back. Okay. Stop. The next thing you got to do is you got to check the antifreeze and the coolant up here, and it's up on this thing. Yeah, get up here to do this. There'll be a little door that says coolant. And you put the, check the radiator for the coolant, and you put the radiator cap back on good and tight. Then you shut the door. And flip the latch back over on it. Okay, next thing you do is open these doors here, and then you check the oil inside right here. And make sure the oil's at the full. That's good. Look in here to see if anything else looks out of the ordinary, leaking or any problems like that. I don't see any. And you should be good to go. It's good to check the other side too. And make sure that...
Now.
We have auxiliary fuel line.
Go ahead.
Set up for the 55-gallon drum here. Line goes around the hooks in. Notice how the setting here is set. This switch indicating this one right here. Okay? If it's pointing as it is there, it would be set to tank. You notice we have the switch set up and down, which the pointer is pointing down, which that pointer will be representing auxiliary. All right, notice on the fuel supply here and here versus here and here. This is fuel supply outlet. That's only for the outlet. This generator will not run if it's hooked into that one. It has to be hooked into auxiliary fuel connector, which is the one on this side. Then the fuel will run. Okay. Then you let this down. This is your control panel for the generator. Okay. There's not a whole lot you can check at this point. You're ready to run it. To crank this, you have the stop, run, start button. Whenever you crank this thing, there should be two things that should happen while you hold it up into the start position. Do not release it down until the oil pressure starts to rise, and you should get a fluctuation, a jump, some kind of jump here on the hertz on this. Then once you get both of these, then you can release it to the run position. For example, I hold it up until I get oil pressure and jump. Well, you got to jump on this. Now come on. Then we'll check the lights here, all the overruns, no buttons above, they're all good. And we always let it run and warm up some before we do anything else. Now at this point, we want to go around and check everything else to make sure it's off. This will leave a chance the generator to warm up a little bit before you start throwing anything else to it. Okay, when you get over here, you want to make sure the circuit breaker's in the off position. That's all you need to check here at this point. Starting and starting, I will come back to that in a minute. The next thing you want to do is you want to check and make sure the master circuit breaker box is off or in here. All of these circuit breakers should be in the off position. Everything there. And take a quick glance over on this side and make sure all your radios are off. Make sure everything here is off. Your power switch up here and here is off. Everything is off. Your scan's off. And your focus and intensities are off. Elevation, azimuth, gain's off, and video gain is off. Okay, everything is off here, so we're good to go. Now it's time to go back to the generator. Okay, we're going to control the hertz with the throttle. This is the throttle. There's two ways to work this throttle. It's got a release button which you push at the end and pull it out. Alright, now come up here, and here's how we're going to measure what we're getting on the, we want to run it on this particular situation, 5800. 60 is recommended, but 60 we get too many hertz in there, so 58 is what we found out works real good here to get us our 400 cycles over on our PU126. Now we're going to go back to this, and we're going to mash the button, and we're going to pull it out and watch at the same time those hertz come up. Now we're going to carried to the PU126, the circuit breaker has to be closed. This light should light when you close the circuit breaker. Okay, now the circuit breaker's closed, so this is throwing power out to the PU126. But the PU126 is very, very hard to get started. So you have to come over here to the battle short, lift this thing up and bring this on. What this does is it'll let it carry an overload, to start that PU126. It doesn't need to be run continuously in this situation, but only to start the PU126. Once it's started, you can come back over here and cut this off. And you should get an overload light when you start the 126. Okay, now let's go over to the 126. This is the PU126 again. We still check the circuit breakers in the off position. This starts the PU126, this stops it. Now, if you can still hear the generator, listen to the, it's one big pull on it. We're fixing to really pull that generator down a lot. Now, the PU126 is running. Notice our 400 cycles. We're right on the 400. You remember we ran in on 58 cycles over there on that generator to get to 400. Also remember, each generator will be different. That 58 cycles to get your 400 here. Another generator may require 61. It will all be close to 60 cycles though. Now we have to go back to that generator and cut the battle short to the off position, because you remember we left it on to start this. This is now running. Now let's go back over to the generator. Battle short, right? Now we want to cut this off. Just push that button down and it cuts it back to the off position. Now I told you we was going to have an overload light. See up here? We hit the test reset and it goes off. So you're okay now. Everything is working appropriately. Now we got to go back to the PU126. We're now back to the PU126. We check our cycles one more time. We're getting our 400 cycles. You can see that thing vibrating up and down there a little bit. The next thing we need to do is throw the circuit breaker. This applies the 400 cycles, 240 volts to go into the radar, the GCA container right here. Now we're getting power now. We've converted our power and taken it into the container. Now let's go to the container. We're now in the GCA container. We want to check the cycles here. The cycles are they're between 400 and 410. You can see both the 400 and the 10 shaking here, right? So you might want to go back to the generator and turn it down just a little bit, a little under 5800 to get this down to your 400 cycles. Basically, you are doing 400 cycles because it is shaking. It's just a little high above 400 cycles. So we're going to go back to the generator and turn the cycles down just a minute to get this to match up on the 400 cycles.
At this point, that you will be adjusting the generator to meet the required 400 megacycles.
Cycles. All right, back. Okay, now that we've noticed we've got our 400 cycles here by making the fine adjustments over on the hertz on the generator, and the next thing to do is the main power. All right, the main power is now on. All right, the next thing you want to do is you want to hit the fan. This will tell you if you got power at all in here. Ah, you hear the fans. The fans of the radar on. Next thing you want to do is you want to hit the lights, because you may want to be inside this thing and close the doors. Alright, the next is to do the 28 volt converter. Now this is the hardest thing on this power unit here to get work because you have to really feel for it. You watch this indicator right here to get all around 28, 30, 32 volts right in there. If it goes higher than say 35, you need to start over. But the way you do this is you come up real slow on this circuit breaker and you'll feel it kick in. Now, as it kicks in, it came up to 30, so it's probably going to be good to go all the way at this point. Then you kind of hold it there and let it warm up because it hadn't ran for a while. And then you kick it all the way in, and it's right there at 31 volts. That's good to go. So, but if it fluctuates over past 35, turn it off, do it again. You may have to do it 2 or 3 times to make it work. Okay, now that we have that on, we check the air conditioners. By checking the air conditioners, air conditioner 1, air conditioner 2. Now, notice up here, this is the control units for the air conditioners. The only way to tell if they're working is to turn them on. Now you hear it kick in. Now you hear it kick in. AC1, AC2. What I like to do is if you don't need to run both of them, run AC1 on the odd days, AC2 on the even days. And today's the 14th, so we're going to run AC2 today. When you turn AC1 off, you want to make sure you let it stay off for about 3 or 4 minutes before you turn it back on. But we're going to leave AC2 on today and let it run. Then you come back to your control console. Okay. The next thing you want to turn on after the air conditioners is the control units. And this operates all your stuff over here, your landlines hookup and all that. Alright, after that point you want to turn each one of your circuit breakers for your radio on. We use UHF 1, 2, and 3, VHF 1, 2, and 3. We leave the FM off because we do not have an FM installed. If we had an FM installed, we would use these up. But leave these down, it keeps you from tearing anything up. Alright, the next thing to do is turn the radar on. This provides power out to the RT group. The radar is now on. Turn the ring generator on, which we have no need for at this point because it's hooked up to it, and all your AC outlets on. Okay, that's everything on here that should be on for as it's set up right now. We don't have, like I said, no FM radios. Crypto we do not have, so we do not turn it on. The master indicator. This indicates which scope, either this scope or this scope, being the master. Right now we're in the master indicator number 1, so this scope here would be the master. That means if you run in the simultaneous mode, this is going to give you your precision final. This will give you your ASR. Okay, first thing, once you got this selected to whichever one you want, next thing you want to do is you want to come over here and turn the main circuit breaker for the scopes on. That one, and then go turn the one on the other side on, here. This one. Okay, once you have that on, you kind of need to give a warm-up period because it has been down for a while. Next thing you want to do is you want to come back here to your radios. Turn each radio on. Go to the main. 060. This goes to TR, transmitter receiver. Alright, this is all your VHFs, this is all your UHFs. This is VHF and UHF 1, VHF and UHF 2, VHF and UHF 3. Now, you're going into the console. The consoles are listed down here. We listed UHF 1, 2, and 3, VHF 1, 2, and 3. These are the FMs, which are in the off because we do not have any FMs. If you have landlines, you'd have them hooked into here, which you hook into outside. Here you have the audio. You can have it in the speaker or in the headset. Speaker up here, headset here. If you have it in the speaker, then you can hear everything coming through the radios. This one's up in the monitor. I'm in the monitor position here on all the radios. If I bring these down, you're in the off and you can't hear. If you want to check radio checks, you leave them in the off and check one radio at a time. each one at the time, because you can't tell if you leave the rest of them in the monitor position. Now, once this is all on and that's all on, you have this on, you have your circuit breaker on here. Next thing to do now is to go to the radar set. Okay, as you walk out to the radar set, you want to look at these cables to make sure they're all okay. Notice we have some bad cables out here, and they need to be replaced. First thing you want to do when you get out here, there should always be 2 vents for the gear drive that should have red showing. These should never be left without the red showing. And whenever you shut a radar down, you always have the red showing. That keeps precipitation from getting into the gear drive. Okay, you screw these things out and you turn them around. Don't try running this radar without these turned around. You can create all kind of damage. And you have one right here, like this. Pressure built up in that. Turn around, put it back down. What that does is that lets the gear vent and not cause pressure. Now, when you first crank this thing up, you have vents, 2 vents on this. One of them here, that needs to be taken off. And one of them on this side, just like it, and that one needs to be taken off. Don't run the radar unless you got these vents off, okay? Now, also, if it's been packaged for a while, these vents here will be on. You'll have to take these vents off. If you're going to run it on a day-to-day basis, you shouldn't have to put these back on a day-to-day basis. But if you're going to leave it for a week or so, package it up, put these vents back on it.
Hold up.
Okay, and you'll have a vent cover down here. Like I said, if you're going to crank this thing every day and run it, you can probably leave this one off with no problem at all. If you're going to be gone for a day or 2, you want to package this bottom vent up. Whenever you release this bottom vent here, check for a lot of water in it. That could present a big problem if you got a lot of water in there. Another thing you want to do is you want to take this back cover off right here, like so. Kind of take a look inside, see if everything looks all right. Another thing you want to check is right here where it says azimuth drive power. Make sure that's in the on position. If that's not in the on position, when you throw the power, nothing will happen. As normal as you can tell, not being a technician, and you put the back on it. Making sure the vent's still left open. It has to be vented.
I'm shutting you. Go ahead.
Is lift this up. You know, this is the control panel for this. We're going to leave the high volts in the off position until we have a maintenance guy to check it to say it's okay to throw the high volts on it. Now, we can throw the high volts on it because everything is basically, not throw the high volts, we can throw the power on without throwing the high volts on to see if everything is working up to that point. To do this, main power, when you hit this, you should hear a fan. And you should get a fluctuation from this, from the antenna. Okay, now we have a scan position here and off or on. This is you need to leave the scan, you need to turn the scan position to the on position, so then when you turn the scan on it back inside the where the scopes are, then you'll get scanned. You can look in there and tell. There'll be no problem turning on there. All right, now we need to go back into the GCA container. In the GCA container, we had set scope number 1 up as the master, but I'm going to change it to scope number 2 now. Convert that one over here for our camera purposes only, okay? Now, we have this one as a master indicator. We want to make sure the scan mode is in the search position. Okay, we'll make sure that focus and the intensity is down again, video is down again, as the elevation is down again. And now we're ready to throw the scan button. Now, when we throw the scan button, we should be able to look out the door at the radar and see if it turns. It should turn.
Turn it.
Both of these indicators, so we will not, most likely will not get a video indication on these things because they are down. The next thing you should do is check the norm mode, which you should get PAR fine ball. Check that, you go to the norm mode, then you look back out the radar to make sure the elevation and the azimuth antenna is working. We're going to go to the norm. Now we're going to look outside the door again and see if the azimuth. Check too, we want to go to simultaneous. Simultaneous is the one click before you get to the last one. Go to simultaneous, and at this time, the azimuth antenna should be making a complete 360 with the elevation antenna still working. Now we're going to check to see if we got any video here at all. Yesterday this scope was down completely, and I think it's going to be down again today. We're not getting any video of it. So this is basically unusual at this point. This is your turn-on procedure up to this point. This is as far as we can go because we're not getting any video on either one of the scopes. And we're going to have maintenance come out and take a look at it. And that's our basic turn-on procedure. To turn everything off, you can use the same procedure, but just reverse the order. Exactly same, but just back it all up. So to back it all up, you're going to go back here to the scan mode. That should look out the door so you go. Everything is counterclockwise. I'm going to do that. Turn your scan to the off position. That's the shutdown.
Yeah. Yes, this is good. This is you at your best. All right, this coffee pot of Perkin, huh? Oh, it's on. It's RECs. Yeah. Bye, Chuck. Come here, Chuck. Come here, Chuck. Oh, Chucky, come here.
What?
Come here.
Can't hear you.
Nothing. I'm just talking. Say something constructive.
Like what?
Talk air traffic control talk.
Talk air traffic control.
Yeah.
Roger.
All right.
How about that?
That sounds good.
Back now 8 o'clock, Friday morning. It's the 15th of May of 92.
Morgan Dukes doing some homework.
Philadelphia police destroyed a city block, killed 11 people, trying to evict a rat race.
This is Bean on the tower at Hagler Field.
I are an air traffic controller.
This is Bean as he goes away from us. What's he landing on? 1-4?